It is able to charge 2 devices simultaneously. Now, the real reason I bought this was to recharge my Droid Razr, which is my current phone. The Droid Razr has a 1785 milliamp battery in it. That is according to Wikipedia and the Verizon website. The Energizer battery has a 4000 milliamp. So if you did the simple math, you would intuitively think that you'd be able to recharge the Droid Razr 2.5 times, basically 4000 divided by 1785. Well, unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. So to test it out, I drained the Droid Razr battery down to real low, like 4%. I used a battery circle widget, which is on the home screen here, and you can see a specific percentage of the battery left on the Droid Razr, unlike the Android Gingerbread system, which tends to round it to the nearest 10%. And then I checked it, and I kept track of it. So basically, I wrote down the starting percentage and the starting time. I then plugged in the Energizer, and I put the Droid Razr in airplane mode. I did that to ensure that there was no interruptions from phone calls, text, that the apps weren't using any kind of background data. In other words, to control the experiment, I made sure that the phone was not really draining much power at all, and of course I left the screen timeout. I then started charging it up. I would check the screen every once in a while, just turn it on to make sure it said charging, and then once it got to a full charge, my phone gives me an audible little notation that says Droid, and then I immediately checked it, and it was at 100%, and then I wrote down the final time. I then unplugged it. On my first attempt, it took 2 hours and 12 minutes to fully recharge a Droid Razr. So a little over 2 hours. Keep in mind this is not being plugged into a wall outlet, so it's going to be a little bit slower than if you plugged it into a wall outlet. So then I ran down the battery again on the Droid Razr and reconnected it to the Energizer and started it up again. Unfortunately, it stalled at the 48% mark. Started at 4%, and I can only get it down to 48%. So unfortunately, no matter what I did, I let it continue to charge a little bit more. It still said it was charging, but it was stuck at 48%. So I was able to recharge my Droid Razr 1.5 times with a fully charged Energizer. In other words, the math did not work out. So after being disappointed with the results, I then went ahead and gave it a second chance. I recharged the Energizer overnight, gave it a good 6 hours to charge, which, by the way, is more than it needs. It only needs about 4 hours to fully charge the Energizer. I made sure the charge light was green, and then I attempted it again, and I got the exact same results. I was able to charge up the Droid Razr 1.5 times, and just like before, it took a little bit, like 2 hours and 10 minutes, I think, the next time I did it. So it's a little more than 2 hours to recharge it 1.5 times. What I think is happening is you're not able to get every last drop of energy or power out of this battery. When you plug a device into the wall outlet, the power company is charging it, and it's almost like an unlimited charge. So you're going to get a constant stream of energy powering up your device. So that's why you can easily charge it up all the way and fully. When you have a battery like this and it's charging, there's nothing plugged into the battery to give it more charge when it's charging. So I think what is happening is it's sort of following what I would call a power gradient or an energy gradient. Power is literally flowing from the Energizer to the Droid Razr simply because it is a bigger battery and has more power, and then the Droid Razr has a smaller battery and its battery is almost dead, so it passively flows from the Energizer to the Razr, kind of like electrolytes. They pass through a semi-permeable membrane from a high concentration to a low concentration until an equilibrium is achieved. What happens, I believe, is upon that second time when I'm attempting to recharge the Droid Razr, once it gets to the halfway point, around 50% battery here, it kind of stalls. There's not enough extra power in this to sort of allow the electrons to passively recharge the Droid Razr any more than halfway. So, so even though it's rated as 4,000 milliamps, you're not going to be able to squeeze out every last drop of energy. So now we're going to run another little test. We're going to actually charge up the Droid Razr while it's being used. So Droid Razr is now on. As you can see, the 4G LTE network is on. We are at 94% screen brightness, so the brightness is all the way up. And the battery is at 65%, so we're starting with a little more than halfway. It's the time is 15:34, 3:34 in the afternoon. Let's go to Netflix, and of course we'll watch the show that my girlfriend absolutely hates. We're gonna watch a little bit of Jersey Shore here. Well, you won't watch it. I'm gonna freeze the video and I'll fast forward. So it's really a riveting show, you know, a real coming of age kind of thing. So let's start her up. Let's plug her in. Hit the power button. Is it charging up? And as you can see from the little icon in the upper right, it's hard to see, but yes, it is actually charging. So 15:34. It is charging up. We're gonna just leave the headphones plugged in so it doesn't piss off my girlfriend. And we'll come back at the end of the episode and we'll see what the final power percentage is. Okay, so I've given it about a half an hour. It's 16:05 now, and it is still charging, and the Energizer light still reads green. So let's go ahead and back out of there, go back to the main menu, and we'll see what we're at now. 79%. So 30 minutes ago, it was what, 15:35. We started at 65%, and it is now 79%. So apparently, the Energizer XP4001 can charge up a Droid Razr while it is being used, and while it's being used heavily. In fact, watching Netflix with the brightness all the way up on the 4G network is actually one of the most battery intense things you can do on a smartphone. So that's actually pretty good. That's pretty impressive. So let me go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you for watching my video review. This is my very first ever video review. Hopefully I'll be doing some more. In fact, the next product I'm going to be testing out is another portable charger called the new Trent. This is a 9900 milliamp charge, so maybe we'll have these guys, you know, kind of duke it out Mortal Kombat style, see which one is superior. Just so I don't get sued, I'd like to point out that there's nothing in the packaging that indicates that this can recharge an iPad 2. So there's no false advertising here. I just decided that I would go ahead and give it a try. And also it does come with this nice little, you know, carrying case that you can put the battery in and throw it in your backpack or your purse. So in conclusion, for charging up a Droid Razr, I would say that the Energizer XP4001 is a sort of a middle of the road, a mediocre quality product. Not because the product itself is faulty, but because it just does not have enough of a capacity. When you get these newer phones, these LTE phones that have larger batteries and have a larger power need, if you want a portable charger, you're going to want to get one with a much higher capacity than just 4,000 milliamps, unless, that is, you only want it to be able to charge the phone, you know, like 1.5 times. So if you have one of the newer phones, you might want to look into something with a larger capacity. Thank you.